I think we're going live now. Stay on now. Hello, guys. Good day, good evening, everyone. We are back again. And I have a surprise to you. I told you guys that we'll be coming back to discuss the topic we discussed last week. If you haven't seen the video, you can go back and discuss the preview and watch the previous video we had, my conversation with Queen Mayowa. It was very, very fantastic. I was just telling her a few minutes ago that is one of the most intellectually stimulating conversation, at least in regard to this topic that we have had about Sunday Igboho and what is named Nnamdi Kanu online. So if you're interested in seeing our previous conversation, you can go back and type the video, or just in this same channel, go back. Is the next video before this one. We decided to come back to discuss this topic because last week we couldn't cover the entire topic. So we discussed a lot of things, and Mayowa made a suggestion about us accepting the Fulanis. So I asked her some questions about their personality. I said, if we accept the Fulanis, why can't they accept us? Why can't they accept us for who we are? Why do they have to use their religion to fight us? So we agreed that we have to, first of all, accept them and fix certain issues that we identify. First of all, we identify government as the problem of Nigeria, the failure of leadership. We also identify climate change as a problem of the Fulani, because the moment we spoke about separation, like Igboho is suggesting that we just break up, for example, get Yoruba Kingdom and all those things, but that is not enough. After you break up, that issue of Fulani is still there. The issue of climate change that is causing them to go into people's farm to eat is still there. So this is the best I can. I don't want to speak much. I'll just bring Mayowa to the screen, and we're going to have a very enriching conversation again. And today, particularly, we're going to briefly look at the psychological aspect of this, the whole issue that is going on, before we go to the economic aspect of it, then political, and see how this affects our society. So, Mayowa, are you there?
I'm here, Ada.
All right. Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me again. It's a pleasure to join you today to have this discussion.
Thank you. I've been looking forward to speak to you today. After our last conversation, I kept watching the video and I was like, this is very deep. With everything we're doing, this is going to be on record, and people are going to see in the future that we are not holding biased opinion either against the Fulani or against the Yorubas or the Igbos. We are just passionate Nigerians who are trying to look for solutions for our country, not just Nigeria, but Africa entirely. Because the last time we agreed that anything that affects Nigeria affects the rest of African continent. Yeah, so
yes.
The last conversation you were trying to address the psychological implication. You were trying to admonish people, first of all, to accept the Fulani people as they are. And you speak about the humanity, the psychological aspect of it, and what it means when we accept them. Because you cannot say, you gave 2 points. You said that the Fulani, the educated people, we claim that we are educated and civilized. The Fulanis are animalistic, but yet we turn, instead of being the civilized ones, we turn to act like them by killing them and acting like them and being all civilized and doing all manner of evil and killing in the name of revenge and trying to. You say that won't fix a solution. And you also talk about 2 points that I particularly like, that I want us to emphasize today when we try to, speak about opportunism. I would define Sunday Igboho as someone who is opportunistic. You mentioned 2 points. Number one, you mentioned plan and principle.
Yeah.
So the plan is that if you stand up to do something, a movement of Yoruba nation, it has to be planned. You have to come up with an elaborate plan, economic plan, social-cultural plan, political plan. You have to include everything and know precisely what you're doing. So, but the last time we spoke about this, we ended the conversation 40 minutes because time was against us. So today I want us to go deeper into it. So I'll give you the floor, and I'll be here listening to you while you help us to dialogue these things. And this is not a solo dialogue. We're inviting our viewers, people that are going to watch you in the future, to please engage, leave your comment, we'll read, we'll reply you, and engage in this conversation.
Yeah. Thank you, Ada. I think it's really important that we have these conversations, and also we invite others as well and encourage, not just inviting you, but encouraging you. I really want to make this like a normal thing, the norm, where we're constantly having these types of conversation, political, economical, social, as humans, as citizens, as adults, as thinking people, as sound-minded people. We must have these conversations. And even if we don't know, we don't have background, we don't know, let's start the foundation now, where this is our concern. We humans that are on earth are the ones that are going to deal with the problems that we caused. And for that reason, all of us need to engage. Nobody is an expert in this field. All knowledge are needed, or wisdom are needed, or ideas are needed. So that's the first thing I want to say. The second thing I want to say, especially about our general thinking, or Ada and I, in terms of being no biases or no prejudice on this issue, it's not because we don't feel pain or because we're immune to the pain of others, or because we feel like we're above it or we are not in the problems. I'm thinking of this, and I'm sure Ada is as well, because I know it is Ada's challenge, Ada's maybe not challenge, like heartthrob, to make Nigeria, to make Nigeria fantastic. I don't want to use the cliche words, but that is his passion. So please don't please don't think. I want to say things in like very layman's words. I don't want to use any words that I would, need dictionary for, or anybody else would. So please don't think that we are away from the problem, so we're talking in this way. No, we could, you could flip that and say, because we're away from the problem, we just go about our business and do our normal day-to-day life, or live our lives without even looking at these problems. But this problem is really our problem. We don't consider it as a problem of people in Nigeria alone. We consider it as a global problem. And we are not only Nigerians, we are global citizens. We are not only human, we're male, we're female. We feel pain just the way that you do. We have our family, we have our friends in this country. Our hearts are in that country. So my heart is in Nigeria, and Ada's heart also is in Nigeria. So we love Nigeria very much. We're global citizen. We accept that. But where we believe that, for our background being from Nigeria, and our heart is connected to that, we're rooted to it, and we are keen to make a difference. We're keen for us to live a peaceful, happy community, or to live peacefully and happily as humans, as people in that community in Nigeria. So that is why we are doing this, and we really just want you to understand our hearts, understand the basis for it. Okay, so we don't have those biases, but we feel the pain. We understand the anger. We empathize with the challenges. We know what the challenges are. We are constantly looking for solutions. So it is the solution-driven mentality that got us to this point. The other thing I want to say is, like a disclaimer, please excuse my speech. If it doesn't sound so good, I just excuse me for now. It's not going to be forever.
Very clear. Your speech is very clear.
Okay, so I have a slight impediment of the speech at the moment. It's a temporary one. I can say it, but you might not be able to say it. But in any case, if you do, please excuse. If you don't, well done to you. Okay, so
here's my question for you before you go further.
Sure. Okay.
You were discussing just this similar thing you shared with people, because people are very emotional right now. People are saying their daughters, their sisters are being raped, their community is being pillaged, and the president doesn't seem to be helping the situation either with his speech and threat and with nonchalance and all those things. And we are urging ourselves, me and you and other people are holding their calm and they're saying, okay, look, let us approach this issue in a more rational manner. But there are people out there who are lost completely, and they need reasons to be able to think different. And it is that reason that we say we are going to look into it. So that I want us to be precise, I want us to be concise, so that they can be able to think. It is very difficult to be able to sit down and crack your brain and think about this and think about it. Sometimes you can't even come up with any solution. So we know that if you love the Fulanis, for example, people need reasons to be able to act rationally. What are the economic reasons that you want them to act rationally? What are the political reasons that you want them to act rationally? What are the psychological reasons? Which was what we said initially. You cannot turn to your enemy. You cannot turn into your own enemy. You see your enemy, you hate his qualities, but you cannot inherit those qualities and become like your enemy. Those are some of the implications. Because after that, you say, okay, you're cutting off from Nigeria. What happened after that? What will be? Look at the issue of IPOB right now. Yesterday, I saw a video. A friend of mine sent me a video of two Igbo men. Their head was cut off and was placed on a bridge, and they said they were saboteurs, that they were sabotaging the Igbo movement. These are the same thing they accuse Boko Haram. These are the same thing they accuse bandit and all those things, but they cannot be doing this similar thing. So what, in your own opinion, what is the psychological reason? What is the economic reason? What is the political? So we can address this one after the other, that people need to see and say, okay, look, psychologically we need to do this, economically we need to do this, before that other things.
Yeah. Okay. I want to answer your initial question first, because the things that you've just mentioned and what you shared, they're very vast. This, even though you mentioned in like 2-3 minutes, there are topics of maybe 6 months. If we speak about them daily, they're 6 months topic, or even if we decide to speak on them daily. But we are going to move from economic to psychological to social. We're going to go through all the various factors and areas that are important in this solution. So we're going to move interchangeably. We're going to move from one to the other. So the initial question that you asked in terms of what we discussed last week and what I said, what we started with, which was that we need to understand the problem. And when I say the problem, the word of the problem is that we need to understand the Fulanis. And this is vital. I'm not saying it in terms of kind of just empathizing with bandits or empathizing with terrorists. This is not what I'm. It has, yes. Did you say brief?
No, that was
yeah, yeah. I continued. Right. So it's not a case of empathizing with terrorists or empathizing with bandits or empathizing with rapists or empathizing with no, that's not what we're doing here. And that is not, that's not the solution. The solution here is to understand the problem. If you as an individual just apply this and think about this as we're speaking, if you as an individual, you have a problem. So let's say your problem is you are an alcoholic. Okay, the first thing you need to do as an alcoholic or somebody that has a problem is to identify the problem. So say, this is the problem. And in identifying that problem, you don't only say it is the problem, you say that this is the problem, that you have that problem. So you don't, even though you don't like drinking, you're embarrassed, you're an alcoholic. So you'd say, okay, this is something that I do, but I don't like it. I'm an alcoholic. It's an embracing of, this is the problem. This is what I am. This is what it is. So let's take that same structure and put it into the relationship with the Fulani, the bandits, or a terrorist, or any organization or any problems that is of challenge to Nigeria. So Fulanis is their behavior towards citizens or towards Nigerians, towards others, is a problem, is a huge problem. We addressed that last week. We said that we know that it's a problem. Then we want to then know at this point, like the alcohol, we understand that you have this problem. We are not going to, we know that your behavior is not good. So we, first of all, we accept you that you have this problem. We accept you that you have issues with rearing your cows. We accept you and know we don't agree with it. We know that you are walking through our fields and destroying our things. Okay, but this is not how we're going to do things. We in historically, you were never an alcoholic. So historically, you were not doing this to us. What is causing this? So we know that you never did this to us. We know that you never used to rear your cow and walk through and disrespect other people. What are the things that happen? So those are the first step. What changed? What caused it? So if you go to an Alcoholic Anonymous, or you go to a meeting where you're trying to solve or counseling, the first thing they will ask you is, where did this come from? So where are the problem, the root causes? And somebody that is going to, so the rest of the citizens of Nigeria, so the Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, Middle Belt, everybody, you are in the position of the counselor or the person that's saying, look, we know that you were not like this before. You were doing your own thing. We were doing our own thing. So what happened? What changed? How has things changed to cause you to behave in this way? So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying that we cannot act the way that the Fulani acts. We cannot do eye for eye. We know that an eye for eye leaves the whole village blind, or the whole country or the whole nation blind. Because if you took my eyes, I took your eyes, and eventually everybody is going to go blind. So we know it doesn't work. We have seen examples from others in the world. I believe it's the Tutsis and the
Hutus
in
Rwanda.
Yes, in Rwanda. We saw them. We saw what happened. Countless people died. They are not only people that died, there are many people that are left in that country now with disability. Although they have reconciled and the country has started to develop and things, they are loving each other. But why do we not learn? Why can't we learn from them? Okay, and instead of having to go through the pain, the death, the suffering that they went through in order to come to this stop, I'm just saying that we can skip all those things, all those pain, and get to this using the method that they're using now. They come as one. They understand that they have a difference in language. They understand they have a difference in understanding, and they know that, and they embraced each other's differences. And this is where we also need to apply ourselves. So in essence, it's just saying, it might sound easy for emotional people, for angry people, for people who are prone to revenge, for people who think justice means pain for other people. You might not even be able to hear me. You might not even be able to listen to this. You might just think that this is one girl or lady or a woman talking from a woman's point of view. These people don't listen. These people don't know anything. They're not going to. The only language that they understand is violence. I've heard all of those before. I've had family and friends telling me that they've lived in the north, they lived in this, the way these people are this, blah blah blah. I think that part of being human, part of being superior minded people, is that we can navigate as human beings. We have that power. We have done it for thousands and thousands of years. So we can navigate through problems. We can deal with problems in new and creative ways. The way to deal with this problem might be a way that's never been done before, borrowing ways that has been done before. But to say that...
Sorry for cutting you short. What is the root cause of this problem that we're dealing with?
Yes, so we need to identify that and we need to take it seriously. You have to think of it as a sickness that you have, like a disease that you have in your body, and you need to go to different physician. I watched a video recently of a young lady that was having pain in her stomach, and she did different type of scans, and the doctors from different parts of the world, not just in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Europe, in America, they did not detect that it was an appendix that was causing her issues. So they did all sorts of tests, and because she'll be fine, she'll be in pain like for a few hours, and then she'll be okay. So the scans and everything did not pick it up. I don't know what happened. And many people, they didn't even diagnose her as, they even dismissed the fact that it's appendix. Eventually it was appendix, nearly killed her, and she had to remove it very quickly. Excuse me, sorry, this is part of my my brace thing, sorry. So she realized that it was an appendix, and she removed it. So think about this also as a problem like that. So you have this problem in your body, you've been to different doctors, they're telling you that this is what it is. They're telling you it might be this one, it might not be this. They did scans, they do this. So the reason I'm asking you to think about it like that is because so that you can give yourself the chance, or you can prepare yourself that this is going to take time. Okay, you can prepare your mind to know that you will come to the resolution, but you will go through the process of going from one place, of sifting different ideas, and some might work, some might not work. So this also, we need to identify what the problems are. Is there any conversation being had with what these issues are? Are there people trying to help with these issues? Are we saying that this is the problem of the Fulanis, that they cannot rear their cows the way they used to? That is their problem. It is not our problem. They need to solve it. We can't think like that anymore in a global community. We cannot think like that anymore in Africa. We cannot think about like that anymore. So if the Fulani who has the problem cannot think what the problem is, just like you, if you had a disease, even though you know where the pain is, you don't have the expertise, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the insight of what the doctors, the physician has to resolve that issue, right? Then let us all believe that if a Fulani is having problem, or anybody else in the world is having problem, it is also our duty, okay, as human, to also help to identify, to diagnose the problem. So the question Ada asked me.
Yeah. Before you answer this, sorry, before you answer this, because there's the general consensus that people say they don't think there's any problem. They actually think the Fulani. So maybe you answer this in addition to this. They think that the Fulanis are only out to conquer their land, that they have a mandate given to them by Allah, fourth man down for you, conquer the entire. Was that so? This, when they give this as a message, makes the debate very difficult. So please, if you wouldn't mind, identify the problem and then
this is a problem of religion, and religious people especially, they would say that the Fulanis just want to convert us to Islam, or to be Muslims. But we need to still identify and converse at least about that. So let's say that's what they want to do. Let's make the assumptions that the Fulani wants to conquer our land and they want to convert us into Islam or Muslims. So what do we do in order to combat that? So this is a real problem, right? The next thing to do is not to kill them. You're not going to kill them or capture them and, change their brain about that issue. So if that is the problem, and you will really believe that that is a problem that has been identified, then that problem solution needs to be sought for that problem. So solutions, I don't know all the solutions. I don't know any of the solutions. But one of the things is that at least that is an identified issue, an identify real problem. They want to conquer our land and they want to turn us to Muslims. Are there Muslim scholars that can educate them about this, that Muhammad does not want us to do this? Are there Islamic people all over the world that we can get to communicate with them, that it's not by force that you get people to join your religion, it is by faith? Are there possibilities of other Islamic people that knows that this is absolutely wrong? Could we sort those people out to educate these people and tell them that this is not the way to go? You cannot force people into your religion. Your religion or your faith is your belief between yourself and your God. It's not a case of forcing others to come into it. So I want to assume that that's the problem, because you've identified the real problem. I'm not saying that that's the problem. Yes, I'm telling you,
because that is not true.
We don't. Okay, we want to say it's true, but I'm just saying that we need to identify how to navigate through that. So even if that is the problem, the answer is still not what they are giving us, which is no. We're going to say no, and we're going to die for our gods and see whose God is greater, and which God has a bigger gun that can position and kill as many people. That's not really the way. That is not a civilized way. I'm saying if that is really the problem that is identified, let's look for solution for that problem. And what part of the solution is, are there scholars, are there other Muslims respected all over the world with a strong belief, who knows the Quran, who knows Islam very well, that can educate these people, that we can get together to educate these people, to get them to sit down, to get them to dialogue that, God is there. God is not like that. Islam is not a force. It's not by force. It's of love that can educate them. This is just one solution. It's not the only solution. Okay. Other people can bring other solutions. Okay. There might even be a strategy where others are willing. They're saying, okay, fine, for the peace of the country, I'm with a group of people. This is just me going very outlandish. Okay. A group of people that are not Muslim, or they're not particularly any religion, decide that, okay, we would kind of follow and see what your religion says, but you cannot take people's land. That is stealing. Even in the book, in your Islam book, says that you can't steal people's things. You shouldn't steal, even in my name.
Mind you, I made mention of this not as part of the problem. I said it is a general assumption, the assumption that people have that the Fulanis are coming to take their land, but this is entirely false. Why? Because the Fulanis themselves are victims of this thing. So the idea of bringing an imam that will get them that don't take people's land doesn't even start it, because that is not even true. These people are forced to do something. That's thing that we want to find out now. Why are they doing that way? Why? What is behind? Are they running away from climate change, or is this war somebody that's killing them? What is the problem?
Yeah, and this is also part of the things that we still need to continue to do, which is to identify what the true problems are. And there are challenges that I have with people that are speaking out. So these are the challenges that I'm having: ambiguity, lies, making the wrong assumptions and acting on assumptions. In a situation where we can find out the fact, okay, or we can find out close to the fact, there's no need for anybody to be operating on ambiguity, on lies. This needs to be addressed. So the first and foremost is everybody needs to know what the problems are. It might be hundreds of problems. It might not be the problems that we've even thought about, but we need to know, why do we have a situation where some are saying they want to Islamize Nigeria? Why do we have problems that Fulani wants to take over the land and dominate Nigeria? The most populated African country. Does that even make sense? Or African nation is the most populated with the largest numbers of people. Do you understand? So who are bandits altogether? Who are the Fulanis? I don't think they're even up to 100 million in total. I can 100, let's say, I don't know how many millions they are.
No, they should
I
be
could,
around 6 or 7 million. Or maybe 17
okay,
million.
I can 6 million. Okay, let's say 10 million, right? Or 20 million. Let's say 20 million. How can the 20 million take 200 million? Do you understand? And including that, in that 20 millions, there are women, there are children,
Yeah.
they're disabled people, they're healthy
Not
people,
just in
they're old
Nigeria, but
people.
all over Africa.
Yeah, all over the
Those
world.
one in
They're
Nigeria, I
like,
don't know how much. They should be
exactly.
around 5 or 7 million.
Exactly. And now of those 20 million, they are ones that don't even believe in fighting. They are peaceful. They are not they're not fighters. They are loving people. They're kind people. So we really need to deal with problems. We don't need to start dealing with just, we don't need to start using tribes and our issue is with problem. Our issue is not with human. It's not with us. It's with a problem. So we need to address the problem. I understand that, of course, you need to look at the human of the carrier of the problem to understand the problem, but don't focus, saying Fulani is like you're demonizing all Fulanis. And something that Ada also, and also something that Ada mentioned here, which we really need to take to be mindful of, is that most millions of the people that are displaced, that are suffering from the Fulani cruelty, are Fulanis themselves. They are people in the north. They are, northerners, Fulanis, Hausas, middle belters. They are the ones that are suffering. Are we going to deny or ignore that and say, well, it's okay for them to suffer, but it's not okay for me to suffer? It's not okay for anybody to suffer, but we cannot dismiss that. We cannot deny that. So the middle belters, the people that the northerners that are now displaced, who's looking after them? The ones that they drove out of their home, the ones that they've killed. Who is anybody caring for them? Or because they don't have any fathers, they don't have any mothers, so you're just going to neglect them like orphans? So we have a lot of things that we need to work on, we need to address, but we need to take them bite by bite. And
okay, I want us to speak in this, because if you ask yourself questions why the Fulanis are keep moving into interland, for example, trying to attack people's farm, when you look back, you ask yourself, what are they running away from? What are they looking for? Water, land, grasses. Why is there no land enough for them? Why is there no grasses enough for them? Why is there no water enough?
Yeah.
Isn't that obvious to all of them?
I don't think it's obvious to many people, and again, this is part of the conversation that we need to have. I mentioned earlier in the conversation that the Fulani existed years ago, and we all live peacefully. They were doing the same trade, historically. They had doing the same trade. Historically, they've been nomads. They travel around and they go back to their base. They don't destroy anything. So what is causing them to destroy things? What is causing them frustration? What is causing them their livelihood? What is causing them their unsettlement? Because, in any way that I think about even any relationship, it takes something for somebody to just decide that I'm not going to have peace myself. I'm going to go around and give people hell. And they may you have to acknowledge that. I don't know how. I know I'm saying it in such a blasé way, it just seems like, okay,
absolutely,
that I'm not going to have peace. I'm going to go around and go to neighboring lands and destroy them and do whatever I like. There's serious psychological issues that goes with that. There's serious challenges, serious hopelessness, because anyone that makes that decision also know that they might not come back. And we
Yes.
cannot ignore that. We cannot ignore that mentality. We cannot ignore the cause of that. We cannot ignore trying to help that situation. So what I'm saying is that yes, there are real issues. The real issues also with the Fulanis that caused them to be this way that they are. And if we also want peace, we need to try to make sure that they have peace. Let me give you a modern day scenario and in a modern day situation. I always just think about this, as we're having this conversation, this just came up. It's not something that I prepared. But, the current pandemic that we have and previous problems that we have, like Ebola, for example. Did you see how the British, the Americans, the whole world did their possible best to make sure that Ebola is destroyed, that is contained and destroyed? Because wherever it started from, Brazil, Africa, wherever it started from, it will spread like wildfire. There's a reason why people that are not even affected, they're living in the glass tower, are doing everything that they can to make sure that those who are affected are treated swiftly and the disease does not spread. They are looking for remedies. They're looking for medical remedies. Doctors all over the world are putting their heads together to make sure that this does not spread. So just like the current pandemic with COVID-19, starting in 2019, have you seen the millions that has been spent on vaccine? Have you seen the millions that have been spent on treatments, on global treatments? Countries that cannot even afford it. Nobody is even asking them for money. They're just sending the vaccine to them so that they don't spread it. This is the way as individual that we have to think about this. If a Fulani man or your neighbor or anybody in your neighboring surrounding have a problem, you have a problem. You don't need to wait for those people to solve their own problem. That's what I'm trying to say. You need to look for ways to help them solve that problem before they bring it to you. So let's go back to this. So let's go back to the current. So what is the current problem? Because for a lot of people, maybe some people haven't even identified what we know that is it. Yes, that is it. That is the word. It's climate change. So first of all, I want to tell anybody that is out there that don't believe in climate change. There are people that are seated or listening to me or I've heard about climate change that they don't believe in it. They don't have knowledge of it. They even even people that are educated or supposedly educated, they're saying, oh, the world have been for 2,000 years. Nobody complained about climate change, this and that. This doesn't really exist. They don't understand it. They don't know it, but they are continuously playing it down. Climate change is real, okay? Climate change is happening. Global warming is happening, okay? Don't mistake it. Don't be mistaken. The best thing that you can do as a human being for yourself and for humanity is to educate yourself about this. Find out what it means, what climate change means. Find out how climate change is affecting your environment, how climate change will affect your environment if nothing is done. Find out what you can do in order to make a difference in your little ways, in your home, in your community. Find out how many people even know about climate change. I'm sure these nomads, the Fulanis as well, they don't even know what climate change is. What they believe, they don't. Do you know what they believe might be happening to them? They might believe that the gods that they serve is punishing them. Is punishing them, and they are confused. They are angry. They don't know what to do. So in that anger, in that confusion, in that distort state of mind, they're going around and doing whatever, because it takes somebody that is completely insane to just walk around without knowing if they would even if what you will find and who will kill you before you even get to kill them. They are hopeless. Whatever is making your neighbor hopeless is going to affect you.
Yeah.
If you have a hopeless neighbor, it's like a suicide bomber, somebody who is ready to die, who is unhappy with life, would take along many people. So you don't want people to be in that state of mind. You want people to be in a healthy state of mind where they see value in being alive, where they see uses for themselves, where
In
they
addition,
understand. Yes. So
in
that is
addition,
why.
yeah.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. In addition to what you just said, there are multiple ways climate change make these people to move around. Number one, we have issue of drought, for example, where the Niger River is drying up. The river Niger, the Niger River, the thing is drying up. They are no longer having water to drink. You can imagine having a flock of over 100 to 200 cows and you don't have water to give them to drink. You can provide solution by creating dams, for example, in certain communities, dams that will make water available to them. This is the effect of climate change that my wife is talking about. You have issue of drought, you have issue of flood. You can see Lagos is being flooded. Lagos is being flooded. And one serious thing with flood is that in the desert of Egypt, for example, that desert has been laying fallow for hundreds of years. 1 year, last 2019, there was a heavy rain downfall in the desert of Egypt. What it causes is that there are eggs of locusts that have been hibernating for decades. Those locusts, they hatch every 10 years. When they hatch in their trillions, and they can destroy a forest of the size of a city within 1 hour. Anything they drop, whether trees or whether plants, maize, anything, they eat them like this, and they can destroy a whole city within an hour. They fly continuously. They walk in their trillions. Go to YouTube right now, type a video, you will see the destruction they did in Kenya. You will see what they did in Uganda. You see what they did in Mali, even in China. They are affected by all. These are effects of climate change. These are effects of things that are happening. So this is how you get Fulanis that are moving around. Okay, there's no water in River Niger Basin. Let's move. Let's look for where there is water. There are no grasses here. Let's move. So instead of fighting to kill them, why can't we think of, let's say, okay, let us create, make food available for them. Let us hold hands together, create dams and say, okay, let there be water enough for them. When they come, they can drink water. Like ranching, for example, we made a proposition about that. We also made a proposition about, food and other stuff. This is part of the problem that people are not talking about. So this is how climate change go on to affect other people. But what do you think about our inability to respond? Because not just the people, not just us, me and you individuals, even our government. Do you think the government needs to lead here?
Yeah, I think that our inability to respond to some of the challenges that others are having, because those challenges are not touching us directly, need to be assessed. And like you said, it's not just the people or not just the citizens, but also the government. As what I know with a lot of Africans, from a lot of us, is that we leave so many things to government, and we decide that governments are the one that, they are in the power, they're getting paid for it, so they should be the one that should take certain responsibility, and they should know. I don't want us to make that mistake anymore. I feel like we've made that mistake for so long, and we're not learning. That mistake is not getting us anywhere. We are the one that are paying for the that mentality of, we have a government should resolve it. So what I want us to do, that's why I said this conversation now it's conversation for everybody, young, old, big, small. You speak English, you don't speak English, whatever. You need to bring up solutions, look to identify problems, and lobby the government. Okay, we need to have a way where we can lobby the government on issues, not shouting or shutting them down. Nobody wants to work for anyone that speaks to them anyhow. Nobody wants to make any changes when you talk anyhow, or you shout at them.
Give me a moment. Give me a moment. There is a sound coming from my background. I will leave you on the screen. Then I'll just take care of the sound. This is what
Okay, no problem. No problem. So I'll continue. So some of the, I'm just saying you now. Is you that I'm saying?
Okay, I'm trying to put you on.
Yeah. So guys, I'll try to kind of just focus. So, how to deal with this problem is, as citizen, we have power. So what we need to do is, once we are identifying that this is an issue that is happening, the government are not doing anything about it. So you need to set up communities. You need to set up people in the community that can either lobby the government or do something on a small scale. So Adam mentioned that there's issue with drying of the land, water, flooding. What are the things that can be done with lack of water or flooding? It seems quite polar opposite. Too much water and no water at all. How can we combat this problem? So the ways that the problems can be combated can be sourced. So first of all, the land is dry. There's no place for them to feed or water the cows. So how can we ensure that that land is flourishing again, or the challenges that is happening in that land is resolved? So if that is the only thing a group of people do, I think that would avert a lot of death, a lot of fighting and killings. So that's one thing that we could do. Lobby the government. While we're lobbying the government and requesting that they do this, that you identify that there's a problem here, also have another group of people thinking about maybe how wells can be developed, how we can connect pipes that would make water flow properly and then bring clean water. We have enough brain, we have enough intelligence, we have enough prototypes, we have enough examples all over the world that they've faced these kind of things, and this is what they're doing. Source those solutions. We won't be the first person or the first group of people or country or land that we are having dry land. What are the people in previously or in the past in other countries? How did they come about resolution? So if we're determined that any problem that is near me or any problem that I know of is a problem that I need to solve, it's not a problem that I'm leaving to the government, then that's a good start. Lobbying the government, but as well as lobbying the government, taking a responsibility, gathering people together, and having ways of resolving these things.
Just who is in the house?
I don't know.
Bula Esther, Bula Aquarius.
Oh, hello.
She's saying hello to you. She's saying two beautiful. Okay,
oh, thank you.
We have 2 minutes to go. Okay. I want to hear your final thought.
My final thought is not really a final thought. It's just to end this segment. It's just to tell everybody that this conversation is just the beginning and is a tip of the iceberg. Okay, we're having conversations so that we know, not because we're not they're not other people are not having conversation, but we want to have conversation that also is followed up with actions. Okay. And this conversation is also to empower people to believe that they are the one that would sort the solutions, and they are the ones that would action the solution. The solution to this is not something that we can abdicate to somebody else. It's a solution that we are part of. So even in terms of climate change, what are the things that you can do in your own backyard, in your own home, to help this? Even if it's just recycling, for example, that is the basic thing. Recycling, maybe not burning fuels, not burning tires. Like, there's so many things that you could do. So some of those things that you could do, find out about that and do it in your little capacity. There's nothing too little, even though I use the word little, but I'm saying that it doesn't matter how small it is important. So, and that this conversation needs to continue. It's a conversation that some will pick up as we're having this conversation and start thinking about. It's a conversation that we're expecting that people might not even do anything, but they'll change their mind in the way they talk about this problem. So, for example, they are talking down on the Fulani, exacerbating the problem by saying separation, agitation for separation, and all that. When you have understanding, that is not what you agitate for. You source for solution. And that is what we're asking. So from listening to this, you might not even be lifting a finger, but you will be lifting your mind. So we're not expecting miracles. We don't work on miracles. We work on a cause and effect actions by humans. So
in addition to this, if they talk about breakup, that's okay, but if they can do it in a legal way, because if you're calling for a cessation, for example, there are legal ways to go about it, there are political ways to go about it. But this issue of Igboho, for example, and Nnamdi Kanu, they have failed to tick all the boxes. For example, if you want to secede from a country, you have to have a registered party in that country. And then you also have to have the House, the National Assembly, have to vote for this. But what Nnamdi Kanu is doing is that, first of all, he's not going through that legal means. He's forcing the National Assembly to actually call for a vote. Either he's threatening them through violence and other stuff, and Igboho and all those things. Igboho, his own is just a thug. He's doing it. First of all, he hasn't taken the political box. He's not even taking the legal box of it. So when the international community come and look at the whole thing, they'll say, you guys are not doing the right thing. You haven't even written a letter to the government officially telling them that you want to quit. You are just online making noise. So this is part of the problem. And this is how we need to fix these things on our own. So the issue of climate change and all the other things that we need to do. So we need to follow things, do things the right way. Plant trees in your own capacity, in your own house. Thank you, Ebube. Ebube is a DSF family member. I say, hello, family, good. There is this streaming today, though I am joining late. Blessings to Mayowa, Magaji, and Mayowa. So we will end this, but we'll still come back again if times permit. I feel like we still have a lot to say. So we'll prepare. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we have a lot to say, and just to add to what you're saying in terms of those who are agitating, if they want to continue to agitate, they can agitate. It is the human right to express what they're not happy about. But I also want to say that please stop with the lies. Don't do it with lies and deception. Don't do it with half truth and untruths, because that's a lot of the things that that are going on. Stop doing it with superstition, the nonsense about, you have voodoo, you have something that you're going to use. You're going backwards. You're showing that you're not worthy to be followed, and stop doing it with fear. Fear is not the way. You cannot put people into fear to follow you. It's not sensible. You become a joke, or you become a laughing stock. So help yourself by at least starting with the truth, starting with the place of understanding, start with the place of knowledge. But please make sure that you say the truth, not emotions, just the truth. That's all we'll ask for. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mayo. See you next time I don't know when next we'll come up again, maybe next Thursday. But we'll try to do this. We'll make these things available. I told you earlier on, this thing is not for our consumption, it's for the people that will see it in the future. And hopefully we can be able to have a conversation with one or two people. And if you're interested in Blue Aquarius, for example, we can come along with you. We can invite you also to join us in our next conversation. And if you are really, really available, we'll see how we can take this and come together. So thank you so much. Share this with your friends, share it with your family. Let them engage in having this conversation. and let's see what we can do collectively. Remember, we have responsibility to play. Our government too have responsibility to play. These Fulanis are victims of climate change. They are victims of certain ideologies that they have espoused, and it will help us if we go on the way right now, the way things are going in impact the whole situation. So let's try to see, because someone say they are trying to bring the religion. They are not bringing the religion because then they say they are being killed. Fulanis, they are peaceful Fulanis. There are group of Fulani, they call them the Bororis. They are afraid of them. Those one they wrestle their cow, and they so there is this mythology that if they touch one cow, all of the cow will turn to brown, and they will wrestle them and go away with them. So the Fulani are even afraid of the Fulani. So see them, look at it that way. Huh? All right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Bibo. So we'll go now and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.